It's brunch with Brian. Yes. So, guys, every once in a while, I want to cover the basics and the whole deal. So, a lot of what we teach now, there's a lot of different. I want you to be a transaction engineer. I want you to understand a wholesale. I want you to understand how to do, a flip. I want you to understand how to do basic distressed property exit strategies to be a transaction engineer. But I also want you to understand the creative financing deal and how it's all laid out and all the different steps. So here's the steps. This is broken down. We're in the studio today. This is 16 steps to a big payday. So this can encapsulate it so it doesn't seem like such a big deal. What's a deal? Sometimes it seems almost scary going out there and getting deals and doing deals, but it's not scary when you can just see, oh, there's just some simple steps all laid out here that I can execute. There's nothing in here that's real scary, okay? And it all can run very, very smoothly. And now let's lay it out for you so that you know the actual layout of this business, okay? So let's start. This is 16 days to a big payday. This is our cash flow deal timeline. So where does it start? It starts with your seller closing call down on this end. Now we're going to assume you're starting on a Friday. I'm going to just put this as a Friday start. Okay, so you're starting on a Friday. You're calling you're calling a seller today, and you're saying, hey, Mr. Seller, would you consider monthly payments? Remember, that's our main question. Would you consider taking monthly payments? Sometimes we'll ask them, will you sell the house for what you owe on it? If it's a subject to deal or if they owe close to what it's worth, that's what we ask. But the main question is, will you take monthly payments? If they will, then we know this is a potential good deal. We work that out on the closing call. And in fact, on the closing call, we really try to work out four things. We try to figure out the four deal points, which is monthly payment, length of term, it's purchase price, monthly payment, length of term, and down payment. Now, purchase price is the same. You're going to have to figure out a purchase price no matter what kind of property you're buying, whether it's a distressed property or a perfect property for a seller financing deal. You're always going to have to figure out what the purchase price is. But the other three, you only have to figure out on a creative financing deal, but you got to figure out what the monthly payment, the length of term, and the down payment are going to be. Now, this is why we can pay full price for houses, which is so exciting. We can actually advertise full price for your house. Why? Because we can get, as long as we pay nothing down, we basically buy the house for closing costs. We get a long-term, 10 years or 30 years, or the whole rest of the mortgage, and we have a low payment that leaves us a $500 a month spread. There's no way to lose. I could pay $20,000 more than this house is worth and come out smelling like a rose. So that's the beautiful part. Morning, Noel and Kathy. Happy Friday. Isabel, good. You're here. I haven't seen you in a little bit. So seller closing call starts at day one. Then the deal meeting. So I want you to always act quickly. So if you can, get out there the same day. If you talk to a seller today at 4 o'clock, I'd like you to say, if it looks good, I want you to say, hey, I could be out there in a couple hours or a half an hour, But if, as soon as possible, let's say you make it for Saturday. A lot of business happens on a Saturday. So you talk to a seller today, you're going out there tomorrow. For what? Your deal meeting. You got your deal meeting on day 2, which is Saturday. Then you're signing the deal. You're agreeing on the 4 deal points, and you're filling out the standard purchase and sales agreement. There's 3 basic pieces of paper that you're going to get signed at the deal meeting. One is the standard purchase and sales agreement, which lays out the 4 terms. Another one is the authorization to release information. And then the other one is, if they have a mortgage, you got to get this lender change of address letter signed by them. Those are the 3 main forms. Everything else is kind of a bonus. But if you get those 3 things signed, you can have the title company or the attorney sign everything else. That's at your deal meeting. Then, starting on Monday or whatever, if you sign the deal on Saturday, obviously you can't order title till Monday. But what do? You send your purchase and sale agreement over to the title company or your attorney who's going to run your title report. Sometimes that'll take 3-4 days. And during that time, order, title, and inspection, you will look at the property. Remember, a lot of these properties were listed through a realtor. They're already in great condition. They do not really require an inspection. And you can pretty much personally eyeball them and say, okay, yes, this is a good to go situation. Now, if you have any qualms about it, during these 3 days while you're waiting to get the title report back, you're going to send your contractor, your GC, your general contractor, or your handyman, or someone you trust to go over there and give you an estimate. If it's the person who's actually doing the work, that's the best. So if it's a contractor who's going to take care of all the work on the property, that's great. And so have them go over and just tell the seller, obviously this is a done deal, but I just want to have my guy come over and give me an estimate on the repairs before we close. Okay. That happens in those 3 or 4 days. Now you should have your title report back by maybe Wednesday or Thursday at the latest. I want you in the deal meeting on Saturday. I want you to tell the seller, we're going to have you go in and do the final closing on Friday. So we're signing the paperwork done today. The house is sold. You've sold your house. Make sure you push that. But you do have to go in and sign the final paperwork on next Friday. Okay, so and then on Monday, when you order the title, arrange for an appointment on Friday to do this final closing. Okay, now you're going to get your title back somewhere in here, Wednesday or Thursday or something in there, and then you do your final closing on that Friday. So that's when they go in and they sign the house, they deed the house over to your company, however you want to take ownership. I'll talk about that again at some point, either a serial LLC or a holding LLC in New Mexico. That's probably how I want you to take properties. Then final closing is going to be that Friday. Now you have already alerted your Pretty House Polish crew. This isn't a Pretty House Polish crew. They're not coming from Krakow. Okay, they are your Pretty House Polish crew. And who is that? That is here's the people that are on your Pretty House Polish crew. You need a flooring contractor, somebody who can put in, affordable carpet and luxury vinyl plank if you want to do that. And then you need an interior painter, someone who can freshen up the inside. That should only be a couple grand on most houses or less. And then you need a landscaper, somebody who can make the outside look nice, especially the front yard. Curb appeal is very important. And then you're also going to need a countertop person, maybe. Okay, that's not a requirement, but countertops are not as expensive as you think if you find a good place, and they make a huge impression. If the countertops are crappy Formica, it's worth it to do it. You can ask $5,000 more for the house if you put in, money in the countertops sometimes. All right, so that, and then you're going to have a handyman who can do those final little, can you fix that faucet and can you replace, little stuff, and cleaners. So those are the 6 people on your Pretty House Polish crew. Okay, so flooring contractor, interior painter, landscaper, countertop person, handyman, and cleaners. Okay, so you alert them when you close over here. So you call them a week in advance and say, okay, I'm going to have a house on Saturday ready to go. So can you please schedule next weekend to go do your thing? Now they already know what you like. Once you get this thing established, your crew knows exactly what you like. You don't have to tell them what color paint. You don't have to tell them what flooring. You don't have to tell them anything. You just give them the address, give them the lockbox code, and say, go nuts, go to town, fix it up, get it done next Saturday, Sunday. So let's hope it gets done Saturday, Sunday, Monday, maybe into Tuesday. Tuesday, I want you taking pictures, staging the house up. So even after it's fixed up, you don't want it barren pictures. You want to put some staging in there, some plants, stuff like that. Plants, pictures, pots, potpourri, things like that. The P's of staging we talk about. Okay, so you're going to stage it. You're going to take some pictures if you don't have any good pictures. If there were good pictures on Zillow, use the old pictures. I have no qualms about using old pictures if they make the house look great. And then you don't have to take more pictures. But you got to make sure to download the pictures before you claim the post. They'll go away. So post it back on Zillow. Now, right when you buy it down there, you're going to tell the seller, please, they're going to turn over the Zillow listing to you, and you're going to take it down immediately, because in about a week later, it's going to go back up, okay, for a higher price. So then you put it back up on on let's say Tuesday. You're going to start getting calls right away. And if you get people who say, I've got 15 or 20 grand down, you're either going to go meet them at the house. We call that a private showing. Or, especially if the house is at a distance, you will send them to the house and give them the lockbox code, and not wait for the open house. But on here, as soon as you put it in Zillow, you're going to advertise big 1 hour open house coming on Saturday. Treats and prizes for the kids, games, snacks, and cash prizes, and we give away a TV. All right. And so you're going to get a big 1 hour open house going on Saturday. But if you get great buyers in the meantime, you might sell it before the open house. Still hold the open house, because that's a way to generate tons of great leads on your buyers list. So you're going to take buyers' calls and send most of them that aren't qualified to the open house. Have a big open house on this Saturday, 2 to 3 o'clock, and collect several non-refundable option deposits and pick a winner. Okay, but that, you're getting a check there, a check you can cash. That's your lease purchase tenant buyer's non-refundable NROD. We call it non-refundable option deposit. So that's it, guys. 16 days to a big payday. There's a little bit of detail in there, of course, that I didn't cover, but this is an overview of a creative financing deal. So do you guys have a good sense of how that works? Happy Friday, Nolan, Kathy. Isabel, you love this chart. Good. Okay, happy Friday. Every day counts. Absolutely. Hello, Brian. I always see you on Friday, David. It's always great to see you. Caleb, you love seeing this template. This is very very educational. Very educational having the template here. Charles, good morning. Good to see you here. Who else do we have? Nolan, Kathy. No, love it. Wow, love it. All right, so guys, I'm going to step aside here. And you guys, I want you to zoom in and take a picture of the chart if you didn't already. Okay, so go ahead and take a picture. You can zoom in your camera or whatever. I want you to make sure you have this picture of this chart so you can follow this, and you always know exactly what part of the deal you're in, what your goal is for the next step. Sometimes people don't get started because they think, well, I don't know all the steps. Well, guess what? This is all the steps. So there's nothing about this deal that you don't know now. And so, just follow this track. There's just a little bit of details, like I said, in there. That's a lot of what I teach during the week on Brunch with Brian. I get into the details of certain aspects of, doing like a 1 hour open house. Obviously, I could teach for a whole day about how to do that. But this is the overview, guys. I want you to follow this and start making a lot of money. Okay, so I'm 16 days. I'm making big paydays. That's it. I'm making big paydays. Okay, because 16 days to a big payday, you're making big paydays. So we always do a big affirmation. Our affirmation is, I'm making big paydays. Okay, 3 times on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I'm making big paydays. I'm making big paydays. I'm making big paydays. Yes. All right. Way to go, guys. Let's do deep breathing. Nice deep breath in. Put a smile on your face. Feels good. Another one. Oh, good job. Oh, stretch it out. When you exhale, it's always good to relax. Try to relax your shoulders and your neck where we hold a lot of tension. One more. Oh, good one. And exhale. Awesome, guys. All right. So that's great. I love teaching this. Maybe I'll start coming from the studio every Friday. I used to do formal dining room Friday. And so maybe I'll do studio Friday every Friday. It's always nice, and we always have good things to learn from the screens. Hey, Hooked on Phonics is here. Awesome. Great to see you. Thanks, Coach. You betcha. And have a great weekend, everybody. Charles is always so good at that. What's the best way to do all these things during the open house? Guys, you know what? I'll teach the open house next week. Remind me, I'll do a session on the open house remotely. Now, we have done those in Minnesota especially, but I'll teach you how to do that. It helps to have boots on the ground, but I'll go through that next week. All right. So everybody have a great weekend. Let's get some deals cooking. It's Friday. You're right at the start. Just think in a couple of weeks, you could have a big paycheck in your pocket. So let's get going. Let's get her done. All right, so I will see you on Monday. Until then, keep expecting success, getting awesome training from the Wolf Couple, and taking action.